millions of dollars in contraceptive funding. And I filed legislation to put into place age-appropriate, comprehensive sexual health education, and it was also denied by the Republican majority. So you have a party, you have an institution that spends more time on culture wars and demonizing individuals and taking away our rights, while they also completely ignore solving problems. Because if you truly want to see reduction in unplanned pregnancies and STIs, the investments you make, the steps you pursue are around access to contraception and comprehensive sexual health education. So we have the solutions in front of us, but Governor DeSantis does not care because he's not running for governor in Florida, he's running for president of the United States in 2024. So his entire agenda is driven by political ambition that is not centered on our state. It is centered on what can I do to appeal to a conservative national base. And unfortunately, banning abortion has become the litmus test for conservatism, where you see folks defending their extreme positions while others are running away. And so with that, we want to remind folks that polling shows us that folks of every demographic, including our communities of color, are overwhelmingly supporting abortion access. Whether they would make the decision to end a pregnancy is unique to them, but Floridians and Americans understand that government shouldn't take away this right. That government should not be in the exam room with us when we're making these personal decisions. And the choice is choice this November, and the choice is clear, that Charlie Crist and Karla Hernández are going to protect our rights, are going to protect our freedoms. And Charlie, even as a Republican governor, vetoed an anti-abortion bill in 2010. And so this is someone who has a track record, despite political affiliation, in defending our constitutional rights. And so with that, I am proud to introduce our Lieutenant Governor candidate, our LG, who is not only a Latina, but comes from labor, is an educator, has worked with students of all needs to navigate some of these challenging circumstances. Remember that 1 in 4 American women have had an abortion in this country, and we need to not judge or shame these women as our current LG does. We need to support and trust women to make the right decision for themselves and their future. And that's what Karla has done and Karla will do. So please join me in welcoming Karla Hernández.
Thank you, Diane. Welcome. All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all have hydrated because I know it's hot, so I will keep it short. But I stand on the shoulders of these phenomenal women. So thank you all very much for being here. My name is Karla Hernández. I am a Latina from Hialeah, and I'm honored and ready to be Florida's next Lieutenant Governor. I'm also here as a mother whose dream is to leave a better world behind for all children. And that's why I stand here with all of these freedom fighters. And that is also why I accepted Charlie Crist's nomination to ensure that all women can leave behind a better world for their daughters. You know, for all the puffery around Ron's cries for a free Florida, he sure has a very strange definition of freedom. Ron DeSantis and his army of fair weather attack dogs have all but ensured that women in Florida have fewer reproductive rights than in decades past. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to close the curtain on the handmaid-like anti-women policies of Commander DeSantis and Aunt Jeanette. He and his allies passed legislation that puts the lives of every woman in the state at risk by banning critical abortion care and its logical exceptions, including life-saving procedures, incest, and rape. To put it simply, the freedom to have control over your own body is on the ballot this November. We must take the fight to Ron and his horde of anti-women, anti-health legislators and say enough. You know, last night we were in a room full of Gen Z allies and grassroots supporters. Charlie and I announced our first statewide tour of the campaign's general election fight against Ron DeSantis. The choice is choice. On this statewide tour, Charlie and I will be visiting communities from the Panhandle to Key West to make sure the people of the Sunshine State know that they will have a pro-choice champion. The pro-choice champions they deserve in Tallahassee come November. In lockstep with Charlie, I am proud to announce today our Latinas for Choice Tour, which focuses on ensuring all Latinas in Florida have equal and fair access to reproductive care, informing them of our mission to fight for their freedom and making sure the women in our Hispanic communities know exactly what this governor has done and how we can reverse it so we can keep them all safe. For the next 62 days, I will be mobilizing and energizing all Floridians, including Latinas across the state who want to see empathetic leadership back behind the wheel, not the kind of dictatorial regime some of us left behind. And we will say it loud and clear, just like we did last night. The choice is choice. La decisión es tuya. Tú decides. We will fight tooth and nail for you, for your freedoms, and for your right to choose. My friends, the choice is yours this November. We're either stuck with an anti-woman extremist who will bring an end to reproductive rights in Florida, or usher two champions for women who will defend to protect your rights to make decisions about your body. Vote for choice. Vote for Charlie Crist. Thank you.
They said that on day one, the Crist administration would take action on choice. Secretary, talk about what kind of action?
You know, he's going to make executive decisions on making sure that women have access and the right to choose over, their autonomy and their bodies. And he's committed to that. And Charlie has said on day one, he's going to do whatever executive order needs to be done in order to ensure that.
And would that involve also rolling back the bill?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the executive order that Charlie has committed to sign would forbid the state of Florida from working with other states to incarcerate women who are traveling. So right now there is a concern of interstate travel being criminalized in other states, and so part of the executive order would mean that we will not commit to aligning our law enforcement officers to incarcerate and arrest women, whether they live in Florida or come to Florida to access an abortion. Rolling back legislative policy through executive order is probably unlikely, but he would offer the veto pen to stop future bans from happening, and of course leverage the veto pen to repeal the current abortion ban and go back to its previous state, where in Florida we had what was called a viability restriction, which is upwards of 24 weeks, and that was a principal line that had been the norm in Florida for decades. And so part of the executive order would be to forbid our alignment with other law enforcement agencies to arrest and incarcerate women. It would also be to allocate any resources possible to help women travel to Florida who might come to us from the southeast. And candidly, we are already seeing patients travel from Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, and most recently Georgia, because Georgia's 6-week abortion ban just went into place about 3 weeks ago. So we're seeing a huge influx of patients from Georgia, and we want to make sure that if you come to Florida to access an abortion, you're also safe, and that would be part of Charlie's executive order.
Yes. Well, I know that in our Latino community and just across the state, affordability is also a big issue. We're being priced out of our communities. We have hardworking families that live in Florida, and unfortunately, Ron DeSantis hasn't done anything to help with rising insurance costs. And these are real kitchen cabinet or kitchen table talks. And so we want to make sure that we tackle that as well.
Yes. Hey, can I ask you about, obviously a big thing today is this interview that's going on between the State Department of Education and superintendents. What can you say about that? What are your thoughts on the fact that, the school board in Orange County is named the grand jury report on school safety, and now they're being interviewed about the issues there. What can you say about that?
What I can say is that the most progressive counties are being targeted by the governor. I think that we're doing what we're supposed to do. I cannot give details about the visit from the grand jury, but I feel very comfortable that we're going to provide proof of our transparency and accountability. We are very transparent, and we always provide the data that the DOE requested us to provide.
Do you have any concern that he'll do the same as what happened in Broward County and remove school board members?
You know, I don't have any concern because my constituents are there watching him. I think that he has to be careful in removing school boards that are doing the jobs and that are representing the constituents. The only thing that I'm doing as a school board is just represent the voice of my district. So if he wants to remove me, you know, here I am. It's on him.
Hey, Mr. Hernandez, I mean, same question for you. I mean, this
Sure.
grand jury report and board members being removed in South Florida. What do you think is the overall goal of what's going on in that contract?
Yeah, isn't that ironic that a governor that says that there's so many freedoms acts like a dictator because he is a dictator? I mean, this is authoritarian-like behavior. These are folks that have been elected by their communities, and he is coming in and attacking rightly elected folks. He's also banning books. He's censoring teachers. He's trying to change, rewrite history. I mean, these are all things that are very alarming to not just teachers because we're truth tellers, but really the community in general, and these should be red flags. We've seen this type of behavior before in history, and we're seeing it now in Florida, and that's not the way the United States acts. And so it's very concerning to us, and that's why we're letting everybody know that we are the ticket for freedoms, we are the ticket for choice, and we're the ticket for prosperity in Florida. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Awesome.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.